The powerful trinity of weight loss. Are you missing this? Welcome to episode number 20. Hi, I'm Clarinda, and you are listening to the Feel Light Mind and Body podcast, created for women like you. Women who are experiencing success in so many areas of life, but are struggling with weight loss, stress eating, and decreased energy. Losing weight can feel hard, heavy, and restrictive. That's why every week I will be offering you a different perspective, tips, encouragement, and a unique approach so that you can feel lighter in your mind and body rather than feeling deprived, frustrated, or discouraged. What if you could feel free, yet in control around food for the rest of your life? What if you could enjoy your experience of losing weight and getting healthier? You absolutely can. You're in the right place. Take this time for yourself and let's dive in. Today, let's talk about how to develop or strengthen the relationship between your past, present, and future self. I'm going to slow this down a bit so it's easier for you to absorb and understand why this is important for you. Think about this. When your past self plans out something and then your present self does it, your future self benefits. That makes perfect sense, correct? But just because it's common sense doesn't mean it's common practice. I believe that quote originated from Will Rogers, but I first heard it at one of Brendon Burchard's life coaching trainings. So if it makes perfect sense and benefits us, why don't we always follow through? Well, you're about to grasp what the missing pieces might be for you in making this happen for your weight loss. In fact, in all areas of your life. So if weight loss isn't your priority, just sub in what is. As always, once you learn a strategy and it becomes part of your skill set, you can then use it for any area of your life. Don't you love that? I know I do. It gives us more bang for our buck, or more return on our investment of time, energy, and often money if we really want to master it. Today's podcast is a response to messages I received from the past 2 weekly podcasts, along with the meal picture I posted, not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before on Clarinda's Empowerment Facebook page. And I'll use part of that post as an example a bit later in this episode. So first, why did I choose the word Trinity? I'm not talking about the Christian Godhead, which is where my mind goes first. But when I was brainstorming, the title I kept coming back to was The Power of the Three, past, present, and future becoming one. So I looked up the definition to get clear as well as concise. And along with the Godhead, it also said a group of 3 people or things, the state of being 3. So here we go. In the past 2 to 3 podcasts, we've explored the impact and experience of our past and future selves. I encourage you to listen to them after this, as they will strengthen what you learned today as well. I think this episode will tie it all together in a basic way. Of course, there's only so much I can share here, and the true transformation comes from practicing what you learn and being coached on what is working and what isn't. But this will definitely get you started. The Feel Light Mind and Body group worked on that last week, so this Thursday evening's group coaching session is really going to be a fun and transformative one. Okay, ready to dive in? This might get a bit meta, but stick with me. Right now, as your present self, decide one thing you would like to have as your result in the future. It can be hours, days, months, or years in your future. Think about what you need to be thinking, feeling, and doing, or not doing, in order to achieve it. It's important to only choose one thing right now to keep it simple, doable, and most importantly, keep you out of overwhelm and increase the probability of achieving it. You don't want it to be too big of a leap, as that is one of the reasons for not following through. However, you want your action step to be cognizant and in alignment with your goal. Write down a simple plan to follow tonight or tomorrow for the thing that you choose. Doing this ahead of time gives your brain some distance from it and makes it easier to tap into the prefrontal cortex, the region of your brain most associated with strategic planning. Writing it down adds to the commitment and is a convenient and powerful reminder to review as many times as needed. Here are a few guidelines that will be key in you sticking with this. Yes, you want your plan to help you reach a goal or desire that you have, but it also has to be reasonable and kind to your future self. You know your current pattern. If you want it to be doable and sustainable, then do yourself a favor and don't go extreme. Be considerate to your future self. When I plan a day ahead for my food, I make sure that I give myself foods that are not only nutritious, but also delicious. I offer some parameters around that for my clients, but ultimately, you are the one in the driver's seat. You know what you like and don't like. I am simply your guide, your coach, and provide the science and mindset to help you choose what is going to move you forward. As you set your goal and write out your plan, check to see if you are using too high of standards. I like to ask myself, will the Clarenda tomorrow be happy with this choice? Keeping in mind the Clarenda that she wants to be, say a month from now, when she can fit into that currently too tight outfit and feel great. Next, make the decision now that when the time comes, you will honor the work, time, and effort that you put in ahead of time. Commit to following through and not allowing the toddler part of your brain to choose what it wants at that moment, because usually that would be a choice based on immediate gratification that won't help you reach your goal. From experience, I now expect that my brain will offer me something different, but just because we have a thought doesn't mean we have to act on it. Now, here's where the meta part really starts to happen. The next day, what you wrote as your present self now becomes your past self. Your only job as your present self is to follow through, to honor your past self, and when you do, there's a strengthening in your relationship with yourself. You know that when your past self was making that decision, she wasn't planning out of impulse. She was planning with your best interest in mind. So, for example, if your past self actually planned out a meal, then you can enjoy whatever she planned guilt-free. No beating yourself up needed or allowed. You can feel good about your decision yesterday and your follow-through today in order to get the result your future self will be pleased with. One of the reasons people feel lighter in this Feel Light Mind and Body experience is because so many of the strategies save time and energy in the long run. Too often, we feel exhausted at the end of the day from mental fatigue. Even 5 minutes of planning can save you a lot of mental bandwidth in your day. And as you expand this to more areas of your life, over time, you will notice a big shift in your energy as you won't be experiencing that decision fatigue. You won't have to keep pausing to make a decision. You will simply follow your plan. Your mind will be freed up for your business, work, or family decisions. You can end your day feeling more successful and at peace. I often get the question, but what if I realized that it wasn't the best planning decision? That will happen, especially at the beginning when you are learning this strategy. I recommend that you follow through that one time to establish trust in your ability to keep your word. You can then reassure your brain that you can always redecide at the next planning session if this current decision could have been better. Before I go into a couple of other examples, if you find this interesting, even with some normal doubts, and you're wondering if this could help you in a really big way, then take advantage of the free 20-minute online consult that I am offering right now as a spring kickstart. It's for whoever is tired of being tired. It's for anyone who wants a fresh and lasting approach. It's for anyone who has a big goal and is afraid of starting and stopping again. If you feel a pull, then why not get on the call and share with me where you are now, how you feel, and how you would love to feel, and what you would love to achieve. There's zero obligation, but regardless of if you choose to take the next step, you will leave feeling more hopeful than how you feel right now. I'll put the link in this episode's description and show notes. Keep in mind that space is limited, and know that it will be me you are talking with, not another coach. Okay, let's use a work scenario as a different example of the power of the Trinity. You decide when you are going to make that phone call or write up that brief and put it in your calendar. Then, when that time comes, You do it, even though your brain may offer you reasons to procrastinate. After the task is completed, you can enjoy the satisfaction of knowing how the result will benefit your future self. It gives you confidence in your ability to keep your word to yourself. It moves you forward and leaves you feeling lighter and more proud and accomplished at the end of your day. Sometimes I get asked, but will I have to plan like this for the rest of my life? You get to decide. Do you have certain habits that support you now that you will do for a long time? Maybe you lay out your clothes the day before for your workout or for going to work. Your past self made that choice to help your present self save time. It's also saving you from having to make another decision before coffee. By making that decision, you were able to take care of your future self by maybe making it easier to get to work on time, which is a priority for her in her career. If the clothes laid out were for a workout, her brain was more apt to say, okay, let's go work out, when already dressed in the workout clothes. And here's part of the example that I used in a post last weekend. I planned ahead for a friend's birthday celebration at a fantastic, I must say, Mexican restaurant. I didn't know until the day of, but I made a mental plan for a drink, a burrito with the added side of a salad, and the dressing on the side to only use if needed. By deciding ahead of time, I didn't have to waste time looking at the menu and being tempted with other options, like their sweet potato fries. I got to catch up with my friends. I shared in our Feel Light group that I didn't do it perfectly, but that's okay. I never stop learning. In my hasty mental planning, I hadn't asked myself about an appetizer or dessert. I'm in maintenance, so I'm pretty good at passing on both now, but it just wasn't intentional. I forgot about the free nacho chips and salsa. I was hungry when they brought the basket out for our table, and at least it was only one basket and no refills, because I decided to have some, as they were my favorite kind because they had that seasoning on them, which in my books makes it a 10. So having eaten some chips, and since I only eat until I'm at a +2 on the hunger scale, I decided to take half of the burrito home. If you were keeping score, you could say that was a win after a bit of a loss. A win because I didn't overeat and it gave my future self a great lunch with another salad tomorrow. It was a birthday celebration, so dessert came out for the birthday girl. And I chose to share a small piece of cheesecake with a friend, as well as taste test their chocolate avocado pudding. So overall, I could have been more thorough in my planning, but by bringing half of the burrito home, it kind of balanced out the chips I enjoyed and maybe even the bites of dessert. The scale remained the same the next morning. I didn't avoid it. And then I just carried on my more nutritious eating, just as I had prior to dinner out. I shared this to show that even if you don't do it perfectly, it will benefit you by starting to practice planning ahead, following through, finding the learning in the mistakes, and decide how you want to approach it the next time. I learned from this. I was reminded that as long as I have a human brain, I will need to direct it, because left to its own instinctive automatic thinking, it will choose the easy, pleasurable, or what it deems as safe at the moment, without looking ahead for what is best for your future self. To conclude, think about what you look for in a deep relationship. Love, consideration, honor, growth, commitment, loyalty, honesty, someone who will have your back, someone who will do what they say they will do. Think about how empowering it is to develop that first in your own self. They say that like attracts like, right? We recognize in others what we value. And imagine the example you can be for those around you of what is possible. When you do what you planned ahead of time, you not only honor your past self, but you also honor your future self, the person you set that goal for. I hope this has sparked something within you and encourages you to make a decision that will benefit you now and in the future. And if that decision is to take advantage of the 20 minutes of coaching time with me, just choose your time from the link in the description and let's do this. Okay, go make this a fantastic week, and I will see you next Tuesday. Now, do yourself the biggest favor. From love, take at least one action step from what you learned today. Knowledge without application won't give you the results that you desire. Let me know on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever, what you are choosing to do and when. And yes, please leave a podcast review wherever you are listening to this. When people read your words and can see themselves in them, then you are contributing to women empowering other women. And that feels amazing. You just might change or save a life today.